how to create a prototype of a product. I know you're probably watching all these videos of people saying, here's my six-figure product and here's my six-figure product, rah, 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 right? A lot of their stuff is total garbage. I am gonna teach you in this video exactly how I go and create products and prototypes of products that I know will sell. Let's dive in. I used to create products, probably like you create products now. I walk around and talk to friends and family and those who would listen to me and say, do you think this is a good idea? And then they say, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I absolutely love that idea. So what do? You go spend time building a product, you put it together, then you go back to that same person, and what do they say? Well, it's just not a good time, right? You know what? I don't know that actually, that's okay, we don't need that. I went through 34 product tries over 5 years. Sane people stop after that time, okay? Halfway through that, they don't continue going through that. And the terror that can create sometimes in an entrepreneur. So I've been there, is what I'm saying. I have launched many products that never sold anything. Now to flip though, because of a certain formula I'm gonna teach you in this video, I actually have not had a product failure in the last 46 products. Okay, over the last 3 years, I've not had any of them fail. While some weren't as amazing as others, all of them to some degree have made money though. And a lot of it comes back to a very pinnacle moment when I was in college. In college, I had this professor, he was the CMO of Denny's and Pizza Hut. He's actually the guy that invented stuffed crust pizza, super cool guy, one of my first mentors. Anyway, there was a cool semester where all we had to do was build a business from scratch. And if you didn't make money, you failed the semester. You had no other classes, nothing else, it was really aggressive. At the very beginning of the semester, they broke us up into companies. I got assigned to the food business. I suck at cooking. I was not excited. Okay. He's like, I need to teach you guys how to think. And that's what he said to us. And I was like, I thought we knew how to think. And apparently we did not. What he did is he brought us into this room and he said, the first thing I need you guys to do is to brainstorm a company name. So we sat down. He gets a scribe up there, one of the students, and we start writing down these company names. And we're writing and we're writing and writing, and people in the class are shouting out different names. We could be called this, we could be called that. Guys writing. Finally, the first kid says a name that truly was kind of dumb, and he writes it on the board, and while he's writing it on the board, someone in the class goes, just like that, like kind of judged with his, he's like, and the teacher stood up, grabbed a squirt bottle, and goes, bad kitty! And he sprays the kid in the face with water. And we were like, what is wrong with this guy? Oh my gosh. We were all a little bit shocked. And he goes, there's no such thing as a bad idea. And we're like, what just happened? He's like, continue. And so we continue to go through this. And now we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to get sprayed in the face again. Anyway, this guy started teaching us this framework. And he started teaching us that there's no such thing as a bad idea. There's such thing as a stupid question, all right? There's no such thing as a dumb question. No, that's not true. There are dumb questions for sure. There are definitely no bad ideas though. And what he taught us was a formula to create products. And I'm gonna share that with you here today. This is not my formula. It was not his formula. This comes from a company called IDEO. And IDEO was the company that Steve Jobs went to create the computer mouse. IDEO created the rocket fuselage. Your toothbrush is shaped the way it's shaped because of them. They don't know anything about those topics. What they have created is they've been in a business for 40, 50 years. I mean, they've been in business for a long time. And they have a process that manufactures creativity. And it manufactures creative products to crazy hard solutions. So when you say like, oh, Steve, I need to figure out how to make a prototype for a product, immediately my head went to this. This is how I've done it. And this is one of the ways that I've secured my ideas as I've been launching them. Okay, so let's dive on in. Step number 1, empathize. And you can learn more about this just by looking up as well. Empathize. What does it mean to empathize? Empathy is different than sympathy. Empathy means to feel with. Sympathy means to feel for. I don't want to sympathize for my dream customer. I need to empathize with them. So what we do is we spend time with the customer. And that doesn't mean that you go into your Facebook groups and your Facebook forums and you start talking them, typing them. You need to physically get in the same room with the person that you're trying to sell and just get to know them. It's pretty simple. It's honestly, a lot of internet entrepreneurs have a hard time with this step, even though it's step number 1, because we all thought we could get on the internet, become internet entrepreneurs so that we could hide behind our computer screens and become introverts and never speak to another person. You know what I mean, right? So step number 1, empathize. You have to get to know them. And it's so that you can do step number 2, which is to get data. Okay, step number 1, empathy, get to know the person. Step number 2 is data. And what you're trying to get from these people, you're trying to understand their problem. Okay, the best way to make a product that sucks, build it from your own idea. You don't fill your own wallet though, so why are you doing that? You got to get to know the person you're trying to sell, got to get to know their problems, and you're trying to figure out which on this, oh my gosh, look at these problem. There is an endless amount of problems that you as an entrepreneur get to go solve. Choose one though, on purpose. Know which ones you get to choose from, and it doesn't come from your head. It comes from the dream customer's head. You know why I went through so many product failures over so many years? I created solutions to my problem. And yes, you've heard of companies where that's worked. We just tried to solve our own problem. But most of the time, it doesn't. All right, that's the exception, not the rule. The rule is you have to go understand your dream customer. You have to know what problems they're experiencing, and you have to solve what they feel like is a problem, not what you think is a problem. Those are the first 2 steps. Before I go into the final 3 steps, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button so I can fill the gaping hole in my chest with your validation. Leave a comments below so I know I'm not alone. Crap. All right, here's the third of these 5 steps here. And this was a big key piece, all right? We need to ideate. And this was the thing that teacher was trying to teach us, okay? When you ideate or create ideas, you create ideas. Oh my gosh, I have an idea. You create ideas. What we're trying to do is we're trying to go to the crazy zone. And what that teacher was slapping us on the hand for was we were keeping ourselves from the crazy zone. Even though that student, his idea was a little bit dumb, write down all of your ideas. Here's the reason. In 1960, the US government was trying to create, they thought, how can we create invisible aircraft? They actually pursued that. And as they created this idea of invisible aircraft, they found out, you know what, with what we've got right now, not quite possible, but it is actually what led to the creation and development and the reality of stealth aircraft. All the stealth aircraft and fighters we have today, right, that aren't detected and all that stuff came from the pursuit of developing invisible aircraft. Ludicrous idea combined with a normal idea leads to a prolific idea. And that's what the teacher was teaching us. That's what the professor was trying to show us. That's why he was getting so mad when someone would judge someone else's idea. If you are selling something that is kind of mainstream, combine it with something that's insanity, right? And boom, okay, we actually pull forward and you pull out of mainstream into prolific zone. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to create. So we have ideates is step number 3. And the 4th step here is prototype. Now this step was super weird for me when he had us do this. We came into class one day and there was Play-Doh and popsicle sticks and glue. This is a high-level culture course, okay? And there's popsicle sticks and glue and construction paper and all this stuff, frankly, kids' crafts. How do we actually put together a physical prototype of our idea? And I was like, excuse me, Mr. Teacher, I can't do this. Mine has to do with the internet and a website. And he goes, yeah, but you can still make a prototype out of that. I said, from Play-Doh and popsicle sticks? And he was like, yep. I was like, okay. So I went and I made a prototype of a website with Play-Doh and popsicle sticks and construction paper. It's very key because of this next piece. Okay, so I hear you right now pulling back. I can feel it. Stop. All right, be open to this. This is how a lot of these guys have created such ridiculous, prolific things. They create a physical prototype of the product, and this is the last key piece, okay? We would get sprayed in the face again if we did this wrong. What we had to do is we had to take the prototype and turn to our dream customer. We had to hand the prototype to the dream customer. But if we were looking at the prototype, bad kid if you get sprayed with water. Okay, I'm not even kidding, all right? If we handed the prototype over and we were looking at their eyes, that was the correct answer, because what we were looking for was step number 5, test. What we needed to do, and this is all serious, okay? We'd hand the stuff over to them and we'd look at their eyes, and what we wanted to see was any reaction. Right? Whatever that was, like, or, oh my gosh, right? You're so excited. Doesn't matter what it was, as soon as they made that kind of gesture, we'd be like, why'd you do that? Why did you do that? And we'd start writing stuff down like, oh my gosh, wait. And actually we couldn't even explain the product. We weren't allowed to describe it. We weren't allowed to say what it is. We weren't allowed to tell the name of it. We weren't allowed to tell them even the genre of it. Nothing. All we did was they had to hand the product over to the user and shut up and observe. That's it. What? Explain to me why you did that. What? Oh, it's fascinating. Like, and what do you think that's for? Like, oh, that is not why I built that. You think it's for that? Oh my gosh, okay. And what we started doing was collecting feedback from step 5, test, and we'd go back to step 3 to ideate. We'd go through another round of coming up with ideas, another round, step number 4, of prototyping, and we'd go through another Play-Doh popsicle stick stuff with all of our adjustments and all of our updates now that we've put stuff in front of customers. And we go back to step number 5, handing on over, why'd you do that? And what we did is just iteration after iteration after iteration of ideate, prototype, test. Ideate, prototype, test. Ideate, prototype, test. I'm going to say it over and over so it burns in your head. Ideate, prototype, test. We can only do that after we do the first 2 steps, which was to empathize and get data. Okay? Now, this formula is not mine. This formula was not that teacher's. But what it does is it manufactures creativity because you're including the dream customer in the prototype. They begin to build your product for you. And if you're like me and you walked around for years going like a whip, what should I sell? What should I sell? Oh my gosh, these other guys are prolific and I can't figure out what to sell. You know what I'm talking about. The issue was that I was asking, what should I sell? Instead of, what are their problems? Who should I sell? What are their problems? Who should I sell? And getting to know them, ideate, prototype, test. Ideate, prototype, test. So, right, you figured out, hey, how do I create a prototype of a product with a lot of iterations? Now that you know that formula, you have to learn how to launch it. I got a free gift for you. Go to launchforprofit.com, and there's a free PDF you can download that will teach you my favorite internet launch strategies. It's free. Go get it at launchforprofit.com.